So I would like to bring the Town of Wappinger's Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. Roll call, please, B.
Here.
Yes, here.
Here.
Here. So our first order of business will be to accept the minutes of the last meeting. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
No, it's fine.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept as is.
Oh, second.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Aye. Sorry.
That's good, Tom. Okay. So, we're gonna change the order of the public hearing tonight. We're gonna do Brian and Angela Lewis first. The appeal number is 22-7759 area variance. Brian and Angela Lewis seeking a area variance of section 240-37 of the district regulations in an R20/40 zoning district, where 45 feet to the rear property line is required. The applicant can provide 8 feet for the installation of an above-ground 12 by 24 oval pool, thus requesting a variance of 37 feet. The property is located at 6 Park Hill Drive and is identified as tax grid number 6356-01-166971 in the town of Wappinger.
Motion to open the public meeting?
Yes,
I make a motion to open hearing.
and a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, so, Mr. Lewis, for the benefit, we went out to the site to visit, but for the benefit of everybody in the audience, would you please tell us what you want and why?
Good evening, everyone. Looking to put in a 12 by 24 pool in the backyard. Due to property lines and not much property in the back of our house, looking for a variance so that we can get that pool. And kind of in right behind our deck where we have privacy. There is more room on the right side of the house. We would still need variance. There's also a considerable hill to take into account. Yeah, we're really just looking for an approval here to put a pool in. We're not going to disrupt any neighborhood. We're not taking down any trees, so all will stay intact. Just a little leveling of the ground.
Okay, so like I said, we did all go out Saturday and Sunday, and is there anybody on the board that has a question about the pool?
Yeah, I think asking for 37 feet variance is a lot, considering out of 50 feet, so only 8 feet. So I would like to see if you can reduce somehow or relocate a little bit so that it's not as big as 37 feet, which is significant. I see the issue because one side is a driveway, other side is some slope, but see somehow it can be rearranged because 37 feet is a significant variance. And one of the issue with the board is once we allow one, maybe the next neighbor will have same thing and we have to keep doing for everyone. So like to, we see you have unique situation, but still see if it can be reduced a little bit. So it will be easy for us to justify.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking of moving it a little, further. Well, if you're looking out the back of my house, to the right, but I also have the shed there.
Yes.
And then we wouldn't be able to get anything in and out of there with the pool there. And then you dry out a little bit. So.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to Mr. Lewis? Can you please come up and state your name for,
Connie Dodder.
come on up, Connie, just stand in front of the microphone and say it again, please. Sorry.
I'm loud now, so.
I-
I am Brian's neighbor to the back. I'm sorry? Connie Dodderer, 327 Route 82, Hopewell.
And, 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 you're directly behind Mr. Lewis.
Correct.
Yeah.
My only concerns were In the construction or installation of the pool, that it's set, taken into consideration, I don't want any water issues going on to my property. Also, I have a fence that I have horses in that abuts up to his property. I don't want the fence damaged or any construction debris thrown on my property. That's my only concern. Otherwise, Brian seems to be a good neighbor.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question for you, the board.
Sorry. I'm just kidding, go ahead.
In the town, you have to get a permit to install a pool?
That's New York State code. It's
Oh,
not
New
just
York State.
Wappinger.
Okay.
Anything over 24 inches, any vessel that holds water over 24 inches is required to have a permit. The electric has to be done properly. It needs an alarm. And then depending on the height of the pool, there are other concerns, but not with what he's doing.
I'm just asking the question because I've never been called before, and I know people,
But
people that abut my property have pools, but I've
So
never
if the
been
pool
notified.
didn't need a variance, it would just get a building permit. And the only reason why you were notified is because he can't meet the setbacks. So in
that
that
is the
case,
only-
he's here to try to get relief of the code. So the other pools, if they're legal, could meet the setback, even though they're behind
Okay,
you.
I was just
No,
wondering,
no,
because
it's a
I've
good
never
question.
been
It's a great
called in for
question.
a pool before, so I was just
A lot of
wondering
people don't know they need
what the
permits for
criteria
pools.
was. Okay, so if Brian can, assure me that he'll comply with what my wishes are, I don't have an issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Just out of curiosity, to your point, and I know 8 feet, 37 feet variance is a lot. What would you be on the fence with? Because we did think about dropping it to a 12 by 20. It all depends on what's available. Because it's really just that one corner
That's it.
where it just dips down a lot. I could get a little smaller pool where it wouldn't hit that corner, but I mean, it's probably going to be, 10 or 11 feet instead of 8 feet.
So normally going above 50%, I see the red light, right? Which is, in your case, there's no way you can do that. Because you don't have much room for practice. So
Yeah.
as much as you can reduce, I think it will be easier for us to vote on it. And the second one, I would say, putting a deck around, so it doesn't go closer to the borderline.
Yeah, that was another consideration, with the cost of supplies these days, that would triple the cost of the pool right now. So, yeah, pools themselves have tripled in the last 2-3 years. Everything is tripled.
That's true, yes.
So we're trying to keep within our means and, just give our kids a pool for the backyard.
So from, looks like you can reduce a little bit size-wise, and that will be, I think we can vote on that one. Maybe even easier for us to go with.
okay, so,
I mean, I'm not sure what the math would work out to, if you could
Yeah,
sit down
we
to
have
12 by
work
20.
the math out.
Or we have to kind
still
of,
kind of the same, right?
well,
Same thing?
maybe it's 9 feet, I mean, we have to pick a number.
If he reduces it by 4 feet without a real brand-new survey, I don't think you're getting much more than maybe 9 feet, 9.5
Yeah,
feet.
it's gonna be minimal unless it goes on the other side of the property. And I mean, even on the other side of the property, getting your 22 and a half feet,
Right.
that's gonna be questionable
True.
at that point too.
Where is your septic, sir?
Septic is in the front of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the deck's at, to get to 50%, it's basically going to have to be where he has the
No.
driveway extension, which I think is
Yeah, no, that's not.
it's just
going to happen.
impossible.
Right. Yeah, I'm okay with
And
it.
with your shed location, which it's a nice shed, but it does lock you in, I think, to an area to make the shed still usable.
So what was your answer on that, putting a deck around?
My answer to a deck around is I didn't
What?
really have 20 to 30 grand,
Okay.
drop.
No, I mean, not putting deck on other side of the property, so closer to bottom, that's all. I mean, right, that way you are not more closer than the border, what you are suggesting now.
I think that would be a separate application, right?
If he would want a deck,
Yeah,
I would probably tell him he would never get another variance, because at that point, he would be on the property line. He could put, if this is granted, he could put a deck between the pool and your deck and just extend it at some point in the future.
but that will require also another.
Yes,
okay.
everything
That's
requires
what-
a
Then it's
permit.
clear, okay. Good.
To your neighbor's water concern, you know, with that hill, if the whole pool did burst, I think you're only flooding your house. It would
Yeah.
never go up the hill.
Yeah, it would all slope down.
Yeah.
Yeah, away from there. Yep.
Anybody else have any other questions? So I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close public hearing.
Second?
Should we let them know that it's a?
Yes.
Yeah, once we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, so what we want to let you know is there was 4 of us tonight, not 5, so you have to have the majority. So we're letting all our applicants know tonight that, so if you'd like to choose to wait until another meeting, the next meeting, you have that option.
Gotcha.
So that's your choice. We can't make it for you.
Gotcha. I'll take my chances this evening.
So can I have a motion to grant or deny the variance from anybody?
I'll make a motion that we grant the variance. The requested variance will not produce an undesirable effect on the neighbor. There's no substantial detriment to nearby properties. There's not really another feasible method to do due to the fact of the way the property line runs. I mean, I stepped out behind your house, I stepped into the woods, I couldn't see anything back there other than woods, so I don't think there's... The requested variance is substantial, but due to the way the property is laid out, I don't see any other feasible means of doing it. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And the alleged difficulty is self-created, but I don't see a reason to not grant you the variance.
Okay, so we have a motion to grant the variance. Dean, roll.
Second.
Second.
Second. Okay, and then I guess Dee, we need a roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes. So your variance has been granted, and you're going to need, I think, to see,
So tomorrow, Beatrice will do the paperwork, I'll then get it and approve my denial, and I'll give it to the building inspector. You should hear from them in the next few days to pick up your permit.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
okay, thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, now, the next item on the agenda is another public hearing. It's for, and it's a long one. Appeal number 227758, an area variance for Karen Garawa, seeking an area variance, section 240-37 of district regulations in an R80 zoning district, where 10 feet to the side yard property line is required. The applicant can provide 8.2 feet for the legalization of an existing 10 by 14 square foot shed, thus requesting a variance of 1.8 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard right property line is required, the applicant can provide 15.2 feet for the legalization of a front bedroom addition, thus requesting a variance of 24.8 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard left property line is required, the applicant can provide 30 feet for the legalization of a front bedroom addition, thus requesting a variance of 10 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard right property line is required, the applicant can provide 25 feet, for the legalization of a rear kitchen addition, thus requesting a variance of 15 feet. And where 40 feet to the side yard left property line is required, the applicant can provide 12 feet for the legalization of a rear kitchen addition, thus requesting a variance of 28 feet. And where 40 feet to the side right property line is required, the applicant can provide 27 feet for the legalization of a rear deck addition, thus requesting a variance of 13 feet. Where 40 feet to the side left property line is required, the applicant can provide 17 feet for the legalization of a rear deck addition, thus requesting a variance of 23 feet. This property is located at 12 Schlichter Road and is identified as tax grid number 6156-02-986957 in the town of Wappinger. And we have, oh, I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so,
All in favor?
oh, I
Aye.
always do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, so you're here to speak on that. Can you tell us who you are, please? And
Yep,
give us an
so,
idea a little bit about the property, why you need all this,
yeah,
relief.
absolutely. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the board and of the town of Wappinger, my name is Nathaniel Gooden. I'm from Caesar Engineering. I'm representing the property owner and our client, Karen Gerwal, whose property is at 12 Schlichter Road here in Wappinger. And so just to give you a little bit of backstory of why we're here tonight is basically the origin of this is that the property owner was seeking to sell his property and there was a municipal search. And that municipal search turned up basically violations on the additions, the deck, and some other issues with the property. But in his effort to fix those violations and address them to get things up to code in order to sell his property, it also turned out that these were conflicting with the variance. And such, as we were helping him along and providing the service, we spoke with the building department to understand what the relationship was, and we found that these items that we're asking for a variance need a variance first before we can address the issues and get them up to code. And so basically, as you can see here on the screen, this is a very narrow lot. I know you guys did a site visit the other day. This is a most updated survey from, I want to say, a couple months ago this spring. But this lot in itself is honestly very constrained. Don't know when they were picking lots and doing the survey, why they shaped it as such, but it really puts the homeowner in a very tough position. And one thing I would like to say is that the homeowner inherited the footprint of this house when he purchased it in 2003, including the deck. There is an old survey that is in your files where you can see the rough home footprint. This was taken in 1990. And so there is a concrete pad, and there's some other things noted on here, but it really shows the extent of the house in 1990. And then the recent survey kind of mostly confirms that same extent of the house now. And so what we're asking for is just a legalization of the additions, the deck, and the shed. And really, just one thing to bring up is that, in the application it asks, is this a significant deviation from the character of the neighborhood? I would say that it is not. Most folks have a shed, they have a deck. It's just that when you're looking at the property lines, they look very close together, and so this is an inherited issue. And so we're asking for a variance today to be able to legalize these additions, and then we will work with the client further to get them up to code and to proper working order.
Okay, so we did go out Saturday and Sunday to visit the site, and there was a lot of activity, as I read, going on there at that site. So, first of all, I'd like to open it up to the board. Anybody have any questions or anything to say about the property?
Should we get right to the garage issue?
There's a lot we have to talk about, to understand. It's an old house.
We're going to need to get into the garage, yeah, okay. So, but we still would like to hear from you guys about that, and then we'll move to the audience and see if anybody in the audience has anything to say. But
Yeah, to me, it looks like there's a lot of work has been done in the last, maybe, since house was built in 1970s. So it looks like a lot of work was done since 1970, maybe separate time frame. And most of them are done after the codes are imposed on us. So that means code was effective and work was maybe done afterward. So like one thing, as soon as you walk in, you can see the garage. Looks like it's very close to borderline, right? Same thing if you look from the side, looks like not only close to the line, maybe the roof maybe is on neighbor's property. The water may be falling down from it. So there was some, the bedroom, front bedroom looks like done a lot later on. So there are a lot of additions like happen, so we need to understand those items.
I mean, it seems
Yeah.
like the record we have from, I guess, 71, which would have been from the assessor's office, didn't have the garage or the front bedroom addition, and this would have been after zoning. So,
Oh, correct.
Thank you.
so it seemed like you guys were working under the impression that the garage would have been grandfathered in from pre-zoning.
With the garage,
Yeah.
particularly looking at the concrete pad, and this is a survey from 1990. All right, this is a survey that we have from the property owner. That's
Yeah,
dated
I
from
mean,
1990.
like, we would need evidence that the structures were existing pre, I guess, 68 would have been when the code went into effect, right?
19, let me just put it on the
please,
record. The
please.
building code and zoning code came, not the building code, I'm sorry. The zoning code came in January of 1963. So the house was built in 1947. But if you look at the first property card, it does not have the garage on it. And in the second one, the garage appears sometime in the 70s.
Okay.
So that would have come in after zoning. Unfortunately, we used the property card that's on GIS, and it said the garage was there 1947. But a lot of times, the assessor, when they don't have an idea how old it is, there's an assumption when these cards should have been used. And because of that, the garage is now going to need a separate variance that was not included in this list.
Okay, so
Your
that-
new survey shows the garage 1.1
Yep.
foot in the center. I don't even know what the front is. And this board said that the overhang looks like it's over the property line, but I have no way of knowing that by the survey.
Yeah, I mean, the overhang is well over a foot, so if it is 1.1 foot at the middle, like, the roof is likely hanging over the property, which is not something we would be able to prove on a structure that was created after zoning.
Noted. And so one thing to point out is if this, as you just confirmed, it was built in the 70s or pre-1990, pre-2003.
It doesn't matter. If it was
Yeah.
built after 1963, and remember, there were no permits.
Yeah.
So it was, if they
Yeah.
had gotten a permit in 65, 75, 85, we wouldn't be discussing it. But
Yeah.
all these additions were put on without any building permits.
Yeah, and totally understand that. And so what we're here to narrow the scope of why we're here, this is really off of your judgment as a board. This is a homeowner who inherited these issues. And unfortunately, the system or whatever was happening before he inherited the property did not correct what is being done now. So that's why we're coming here to the board to seek these variances and to address, as you guys see fit, ways to comply. But the homeowner did inherit these issues when he purchased it in 2003. And so he is trying to do his best to, step forward and comply with this.
Understood, thank you.
I mean, regardless of that, we can only vote on the ones that are on the list that was read off at the beginning. Like, the garage then would still have to be
Separate
a separate zoning variance would need to be filed for that,
Okay.
which will be this process.
Yeah, and then,
Right.
in addition to that, there should be a survey so we know whether that garage is hanging over or not. the roof eaves are hanging over the circle, because it just appears that it is, and there's no way to get back there. It's kind of overgrown, and the terrain is difficult to get back to it, so.
It hangs over, I'm the next door neighbor.
I'm sorry, yeah, we're gonna have you up in 1 minute, sir. I just wanna finish up, but we'll have you up and you can talk. Yeah, no problem. So there's a couple things that we're gonna need from you. One of them is we're gonna have to have a republish for a separate variance for the garage.
Would we do that as a separate variance? or
No,
we-
it would be
lumped
in
in?
addition.
In
It should all
addition,
be done at
different,
one
but not
time.
separate, but that's right. And we would like to ask for a survey, if you can get that for us, so we know that is not hanging over the eaves of
I think we'd have to show the front corner of the garage and the front corner of the eaves at a bare minimum. Because, you know, even looking at this, like, there's a lot of thick lines overlapping. Like, it's tough to tell if even the garage wall itself is on or slightly over.
So we have the CAD file, we can resubmit that and show you guys with the lines. I mean, this is maybe just a printing
Yeah, I don't know
issue.
if you need
This
an
is a,
official survey. If you guys have the CAD of it.
This is a
and
recent
you
survey.
could measure the eaves, I would think you could add the dimensions yourself.
Right. As long as we could tell, which we can't tell from here.
okay. Yeah, so we can add the measurements, we can go on site and add those measurements with our CAD file as an engineer and
Yeah, I
show
think,
you that.
If you're willing to certify it.
Yeah, yep.
But we're still gonna need you to republish and add the garage
Okay.
as a variance.
Okay.
It's a one.
And just to clarify, that was found, was this situation found again, just so we can state that for the record?
Well, it came up, this board was out there, and there were just so many questions. So we did a deeper dig through the assessor's records. So when we saw that what was on the GIS wasn't correct. And that's when I printed, and I have their whole file with me
Yeah.
to see was the garage there or not there.
Yeah, okay, so it was added, there was a
So the
discrepancy with the
GIS,
assessor.
I didn't include the garage because it said it was built in 47. But due to a lot of the questions that were brought up, I looked further into it and found that the garage was in fact built later on.
Okay, and so the discrepancy was with assessor records and with permitting and so on, internally?
Right.
That's, okay. So we'll work our best to help, connect those dots. This is something new to us, but we'll work to comply that. But now we can see the source of the issue dating back to the records prior to the homeowner having known about this.
okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
Can I just ask a question, please? The shed, how big is that shed?
That shed, I can't, off the top of my head, give you a exact measurement, but it's less than, I would say, 20 by 20 feet. Like, it's not a very large shed. You guys have been to it, correct?
It says 10 by 14.
Okay, sorry.
There, but on somewhere I read that it was 10 by 16, so I just wanted to make sure what it is.
We
Oh,
didn't
right here,
mention
it says 12 by 16 on the assessor's records as of 2009. So has it been replaced? Is it the same one?
We are very sure that it is the same one.
Is this the one that's advertised as an office with electric or an artist studio?
I can't comment on that. That's beyond my
the owner here?
knowledge. The owner is not here.
Could you find out for me?
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you know if it's drawn accurately on the survey? Can you add dimensions to that?
Yeah, this shed is accurately drawn on survey, yes.
All right, I'll measure
I
it
just-
tomorrow.
Can't go into my CAD or my iPad, unfortunately.
Totally get it.
I wouldn't even call it a shed anymore. Sorry, just being honest.
Okay, so if there's no more questions from the board and from Barb, is there anyone in the audience who would like to come up? Please state your name for the record and your address, and then you can tell us what you'd like to say. Thank you.
James Sheffalo, 14 Schlichter Road,
You're
Fishkill, New York.
north or up the
One
hill
above,
from?
yeah.
One above, okay.
This owner has been nothing but problems since he bought the house, and he's got enough homes that he should have known to look at the survey ahead of time, or the plot plan. He would have known that these things weren't up to par. So the excuse that somehow he bought a piece of property that had these violations, it doesn't hold water. Not with me. A postal worker did the construction on his spare time, in his vacation time, and I think it was 2000. The ridge line for, I'm a contractor. I've been in business for 40 years. And the ridge line on that kitchen has got like a 2-inch sag in it because it's not a structural ridge and there's no collar ties in that. And it's a cathedral ceiling. So there was never any inspections done back when he was doing the work or when Corinne did the work. The property was not very well maintained. There's a school bus there. You saw the bus. It's been there for a year and a half. There was a dumpster there for 2 years. A 30-yard dumpster sat in that driveway for 2 years. When it got filled, somebody would come, take it, dump it, and bring it right back. And we had to deal with that. The neighbors on the road had to deal with that dumpster being there. And then contractors from other sites would come up and dump trash in it. Probably other houses that Corinne owned. I would imagine these were workers that did some of the work on his house. But it's been nothing but an eyesore, and every tenant that's been in this house there's been 10 tenants in the 15 years that he's owned the house, or whatever, the 19 years he's owned the house. And 8 of them have been evicted because what happens is it's got electric baseboard heat, old electric baseboard heat, that was costing these people $1,000 to $2,000 a month to heat the place. So, again, nothing was inspected electrically. Now, he went in and he put in new electric baseboard heaters, but none of that was checked out by an inspector, whether it can handle, the wiring that's in the wall can handle the load or not. And there's crawl space. Did any of you guys go into the crawl space? Did you open the door to the crawl space?
Well, is it Sheffalo, Mr. Sheffalo?
Yeah.
That's not really our purview. We're looking at the variances, the distances from the property line, the setbacks is what
Okay.
our concern is. As far as what you were talking about, they're very valid concerns about permitting and electricity and building structure, all great, valid concerns, but that's not what we do. And that would be more towards Barb and the building department. And I know she's on it.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted my voice to be heard.
No,
How long have you lived in the adjoining property?
38 years.
Okay.
So I bought my house in '84.
Okay.
And in that time, how many different owners have been on that property? If you know.
Corinne, since I've been there, Corinne is the 4th person to own it. It was sold, the first person sold it to his son. His son sold it to Victoria Rabin, and Victoria Rabin got foreclosed upon. And then Corinne bought it on a foreclosure.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you. Thanks very much. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to address? Okay, so
Motion to close the public hearing?
No,
I
No?
don't think so.
Motion.
no, you're going to have to
Adjourn.
adjourn the public hearing to August 9th,
August 9th?
at which point the gentleman will have to republish. We'll fix that for tomorrow, and B will send you the new legal notice to include that variance for the garage.
Okay.
So we're going to put that on record though, right, Barb?
Yeah, you have to make a motion to adjourn it to August 9th.
Okay.
I mean, just on our end, before we get to that, if the garage is over the property line, or if the roof line is over the property line, you might want to think through other ways to rectify that, because at least on my end, that's not something I would look at approving.
Sounds good. Just to review, so I just took some notes here. So just some things, and they're not in any particular order, but first, you would like to see if the shed is advertised as an office with electric. We'll find that out. The garage, we need a variance. However, before we do that, we need to verify the overhang and where it sits with relation to the survey, as Mr.
And the front corner of the garage in relationship to the property line.
Okay, front corner of the garage. Setbacks, right? And, okay. So, are those two things that,
I think what he just said, I want to just repeat it to make sure I'm clear. The way the survey looked, that 1.1 foot is somewhat in the middle of the building on that side.
okay.
So could you go to the front and make sure that that's not over the line on the garage and what that dimension is? That's going to make a difference on what the legal notice says. So August 9th, we'd need to know this in the next 2 days. If that's not enough time for you, I would recommend adjourning this to August 23rd. That would give you enough time,
September 23rd?
no, August 23rd.
Yeah.
That would, right, that's the third Tuesday, fourth Tuesday? Oh, I might be wrong.
I have the 9th and the 16th of August, and I
Oh, yeah,
have the
because
13th.
August has 5 weeks,
Okay.
so it's the 9th and the 23rd. If we go to the 23rd, that would give you more time to do what you need to do with the measurements, get the public hearing done properly by Ms. Aganti, and this way you won't have issues again.
Yes, do we have to make a decision right now?
Well, you have to pick the 9th or the 23rd because they have to motion and put that on the record.
Let's go to the 23rd.
I mean, is there anything else, Bart, that you want to clear up?
I think everything else I've uncovered, you're going to be handling inside.
Yes, and that's just a closing comment I want to make is, here before the board, we're talking about the variances and we're addressing those issues as we just noted. But we want to make, to point out that as an engineering firm, we are doing our duty on behalf of the property owner, but on behalf of our profession. We're going to go in and we're going to look through the roof, we're going to go inside of it. We see that it's sagging, but that is, outside the scope of this meeting. But we will be working with the property owner to address the
The building
issues.
inspector will want certifications.
Yes,
on
absolutely.
everything.
So the homeowner will have to take those corrective actions, and we're working with him to make sure that gets done.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
Great.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion, I'm going to have someone make a motion that we adjourn this public hearing until August the 23rd.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
We got John and Sheila.
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, thanks
Thank you.
very much. See you then.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next item on our agenda is a discussion for appeal number 22-7760, area variance for Marion and Georgetta Lita, seeking an area variance, section 240-37 of district regulations in an R40 zoning district where the lot with 2 acres are allowed, accessory structures up to 900 square feet. The applicant is seeking a garage 1,200 square feet, thus requesting a variance of 300 square feet for the construction of a garage. The property is located at 185 Osborne Hill Road and is identified as tax grid number 6156-01-493-575 in the town of Wappinger. And hello, tell us who you are, give us your address, and tell us what you need and why you need it.
My name is Marianita, I'm the owner of the house. We own 2 cars, we're planning to buy another one. We'd like to keep them inside. I also
I'm sorry, Mr. Lita, could you speak up just a little bit, or a little bit closer to the
sorry,
microphone?
I'm not used to it. So we own 2 cars, we plan to buy another one. We'd like to keep them, at least 2 of them inside. And we also own a tractor, like a backhoe we use for the property. So one of the reasons we have is because the property is kind of the lower part of the hill. We really have problem with water, and we need some digging and some stuff and whatever. We have 3 kids, and they have a lot of stuff like kayaks, canoe, all kind of stuff, bicycle and stuff. So we need a place to store them. Also, we like to store like a mower and snowplow. We want to put them inside so the smell doesn't get in the garage. The only storage we have is like part of the house, and we can put any diesel or gas or anything like that it smells. I'm also a construction worker, and I have all kind of tools that I'd like to keep it somewhere safe. So now, the way the property is just shy of 3 acres. I don't know if it makes a difference. It's not 2, it's 3. In the back, it's state land, or whatever it is. It's not no neighbors. The location of the garage will be further away from any neighbors. It's like further than the house right now is than to the neighbors' houses. Will be very, kind of far back. It's very hard to see it from the street. I don't see any problems to the neighbors or anybody else. It's just a lot more convenience to have all the storage in one place.
And it says you're requesting electric? Or
No,
electric?
not yet.
No electric, okay.
If I do, I'll apply for a permit later.
Okay,
It's basically storage.
okay.
Are you gonna have storage in the attic area, or stair to the attic area?
I'm sorry, in the garage we're talking about?
In the garage?
Well, I have it tall enough.
Turn around and look at your wife.
Your wife's figuring that out.
Before you answer.
It's no attic, but it's a little bit taller than a regular garage with 1 foot. The reason is that my tractor it's 8 feet. So the door itself of the garage, I needed to be a little bit higher, so I picked up a 9-foot door.
Mr. Lito, looking at the survey, I see that you kind of have the garage like behind
the house.
80
Right.
feet, but behind the house, like kind of on the same. Were the doors going to be front or side? Were they going to be the entry to the garage? Was it going to be?
The entry, the way I wanted, the garage doors, like the garage that rolls up, it's going to
Correct.
be on the side.
In the sides.
Same face.
In the side, facing away from?
Right, so you go in the driveway, you make a right into the garage.
Okay, okay. That's because there's no, I mean, I see the structure was drawn in, but there's
Right.
no.
Right, that's it.
I feel like one thing that always comes up with these is if the garage is attached to the house, either directly or via a heated breezeway, then it counts as part of the house mass and would not need the same variance, correct?
Correct.
Have you looked into options to move it closer to the house?
And connecting it therefore.
No, the reason is, where it is, because, well, over there I don't have to disturb anything. It's already clean. I have a vegetable garden.
Okay.
That's what it is right now. But if I bring it any closer, I will disturb the septic system. The leach field is right there, so I have to pass the leach field.
Oh,
Okay.
and you have 2 sheds already on the property?
One is in the plan,
In the pond?
in the drawing that
In the
there
plan,
is, and
okay.
another one that it's shown over there is not there anymore.
Okay.
I never had it.
Okay.
Well, yes, that's gonna go down.
Yeah. So you two need to agree on.
Okay, and behind you it says Dutchess County. That's, you were saying that county property back there.
Yes, all the way behind is
Yeah.
Route 9. I mean,
That might be the Greenfly Swamp back there.
yes, that's what it is.
Was that the one on Route 9?
Right,
Okay,
because Osborne Hill kind of runs with it.
okay. All right, so what we usually do is we go out and we visit the site.
Okay.
Generally, the Saturday would be before the next meeting, which would be August 6th? Okay. So that would be Saturday, August 6th. We'll come
That's
out.
fine with me.
You don't have to be there, but what we would like is for you to just mark out the property
Okay.
where the building is going to be. So
Right.
you put 4 stakes in the ground. That's
Okay.
fine. And so we'll schedule that for August the 9th.
August 9.
I'm sorry,
6th
August,
for the-
I got August the 9th written down here. and it's
That's the
throwing me.
public hearing.
That's the public
Yeah,
hearing, right. Yeah, and the public hearing will be scheduled for August the 9th, following Tuesday.
Okay.
All right? Anything
Does
else?
I have to take the sign with me or somebody else come?
I don't believe so.
You have to see B.
You have some homework.
Queen bee.
You have some homework.
Yes,
Just
homework.
motion to set the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay. So just saying it,
Just say, can I have a motion to set the public?
okay, so we need to have a motion to set the public hearing for August 9th? Okay.
So I make a motion for August 9th public hearing.
Second?
Roll call?
All in favor, isn't it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor.
Thank you.
You owe me. Okay, you're all set.
Motion passed.
Anything else, anybody?
Wait, 1 second, B wants you.
No, how about we make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I got it right.
Thank you, Tom.
Good, good.
You can find me.
You owe me one.
Good job.